hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on subject verb agreement. And before we start our lesson on subject verb agreement, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts. Grade 8, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of subject-verb agreement. All right, so our chapter is subject-verb agreement. Our subject is English language arts, grade 8. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of subject-verb agreement is to use the correct verb with compound subjects. All right, so we're going to use the correct verb with compound subjects, and then we're going to correct the errors with subject-verb agreement. All right, so now we are by subject-verb agreement, all right? And it says a compound subject is made up of two subjects joined by a conjunction, which is and, or, nor, right? So that is a subject, a compound subject. For example, Mark and Amanda, right? So Mark and Amanda. It's like saying this and that, right? So this week or next. Neither Josh nor my friends. So neither Josh nor my friends. So that is basically compound subjects also. And a compound subject is made up of two subjects joined by conjunction and or. All right. So we say that a compound subject is made up of two subjects that is joined by a conjunction, all right, which is and or nor. It's like saying Mark and Amanda, right? It's like saying next week or this week. Um, Now or never. Neither Josh or my friends, right? So those are subjects or compound subjects, right? That's made up of two sentences. And the words and or nor are the conjunctions within that sentence. All right. So when a compound subject is joined by and, we use a plural verb, right? And plural verbs, they usually do not end in s, es, or ies. So when a compound subject is joined by and, we use a plural verb, right? We use a plural verb. And plural verbs, they usually do not end in s, es, or ies, right? That is when a compound subject is joined by and then we use a plural verb, right? For example, when do Mark and Amanda go to school? So, which means that that is two, it's two people that we are making mention of the plural, let's say plural verbs. So we say that we use a plural verbs that do not end in s, es, or ies. All right, and when a compound subject is joined by or nor, we use a verb that agrees with the subject that is closest to the verb. All right, so we can now say that when a compound subject is joined by or nor, we use a verb that agrees with the subject that is closest to the verb, right? And if the subject closest to the verb is singular, we use a singular verb. Singular verbs, they end in s, es, ies. All right. And we say that if the subject closest to the verb is singular, we use a singular verb, and this might end in s, es, ies. All right. So this week or next week seems likely to be hectic, right? This is now when we are using a singular verb. This week or next week seems likely to be hectic. So if the subject closest to the verb is plural, we use a plural verb. And again, plural verbs usually do not end in s, es, or ies. And after reading the reviews, neither Josh nor my friends expect the movie to be a success. So after reading the reviews, neither Josh nor my friends expect the movie to be successful. All right. So this is basically subject verb agreements. And we said with the subject verb agreement, the subject needs to agree with, oopsie, by conjunction. It is also to do with compound subjects, right? And before we, okay, we're going to leave the whiteboard now. We're going to go to aplusstudents.ca. So we're going to aplusstudents.ca. Oh, right, we are here on aplusstudents.ca. So we said a compound subject is made up of two subjects, right? That is joined by a conjunction, which is and, or nor. That is a conjunction, a compound subject, right? Rather, right? For example, Mark and Amanda, this week or next, neither Josh nor my friends. Those are compound subjects. And when a compound subject is joined by and, which is the conjunction, we need to use a plural verb, right? We need to use a plural verb. And a plural verb usually do not end in s, es, or ies. So, for example, where do Mark and Amanda go to school? All right. And we said that when a compound subject is joined by or nor, then we need to use a verb that agrees with the subject that is closest to the verb, right? And if the subject closest to the verb is singular, then use a singular verb. And singular verbs, they end in s, es, and ies. All right. So now we're going to our test where we're going to begin, where we're going to use the correct verb with compound subject. So the award-winning author and his editor, do we say speaks to audiences or speak to audiences of writers and students every week? So we say the award-winning author and his editor. Do we say speaks to audiences of writers and students every week, or speak to audiences of writers? All right. So we said that we need to complete the sentence with the best verb. And we say the award-winning author and his editor, do we say speaks to audience and writers, or do we say speak to audiences and writers? Let's say speak, seeing that if I said author, so it's speak. So speak because we already have a plural subject. In Mr. Griffin's beautiful old house, small statues and porcelain vases fill or fills the shelves of the living room and den. So in Mr. Griffin's beautiful house, small porcelains, so small statues and porcelain vases. Do we say fill or fills the shelves? So we can say it fill the shelves of the living room and den. So it fill the shelves. On rainy days, Durrell and his friends, do we say like to invent new board games or likes to invent new board games? So we said on rainy days, Durrell and his friends, let's say like to invent new board games. Depending on which of my relatives you ask, either Aunt Leah or Uncle Peter, do we say bake the best rhubarb pie or bakes the best rhubarb pie? All right, so depending on which of my relatives you ask, either Aunt Leah or Uncle Peter can say bake the best rhubarb pie. Oh, bakes because it's still referring to one person. So it's bakes because we're still referring to one person. But if you're referring to more than one, let's say we're referring to two people, then it is bake. But since we're saying or, it means that we're basically referring to one person actually. Although the players and the coach, do we say admit or admits that the team struggled this season, they hope to do better next year. So although the players and the coach admit, right? So when we stay at Mr. Kemp's farm, either the rooster or the pigs wake us up early in the morning or wakes us up early in the morning. So when we stay at Mr. Kemp's farm, either the roosters or the pigs, right? Do we say wake us up early or wakes us up early? All right, so when we stay at Mr. Kim's farm, so when we stay, then either the roosters or the pig wake us up early, right? Because it's we are staying, so the roosters, remember when you're in the farm, then definitely animals, farm animals, roosters are going to wake you up. Whenever we go camping, either Martha or Oscar set up the tent while Sharon and I complete the fire. All right, so whenever we go camping, either Martha or Oscar set up the tent while Sharon and I. Oh, it sets up. You know what makes it a bit confusing is the fact that it starts with a plural form and then afterwards it goes to a singular form, right? So complete the sentence with the best verb. Whenever the four of us play darts, Bianca or Ron always, do we say they always win or they always wins, right? So now we're going to correct the errors with subject-verb agreement, right? So we have our subject-verb agreements, right, with both singular as well as subjects. So we are now going to correct that. So the verb attack, right, within that sentence, we will get to that now. So it says the subject and the verb in a sentence or clause must agree in number, right? When a subject is singular, we use a singular verb. Singular verbs that end in S. For example, Sarah visits a grandmother. Brian teaches art history, right? And when a subject is plural, we use a plural verb, right? And plural verbs usually do not end in S. For example, Kyle and Jesse walk home. Those brownies smell delicious, right? And subject verb agreement is usually determined by the simple subject. Remember that the simple subject and the verb aren't always adjacent, they're not always together, always, you know. For example, the excitement of the fans is palpable. So the excitement of the fans is palpable. And we can also say the violinists who perform the duet work together quite often. So the violinist who performed the duet work together quite often. All right. So some of our sentences, right, are inverted, meaning the subject follows the verb, right? Inverted. The subject follows the verb. For example, we have your blueberry pancakes are here. That is now the original subject, right? Or sentence. But the inverted sentence would be like, here are your blueberry pancakes. So here are your blueberry pancakes. So basically the subject follows the verb. So your follows after are. And basically that subject, we call that sentence is inverted. All right. So we need to find the error with subject verb agreement. It says in the 1998 movie Ants, an army of ants attacked a rival group of termites. A lowly worker ant became a hero in the process, initiating events that shake up the ant world. So if we look at that sentence, right, or sentences, and if we look at the verb, right, which is attack, it says an army of ants attack a rival group of termites. So they're saying that the verb attack is incorrect, right? And the reason why the verb is incorrect is because the subject is an army of ants, right? So they're saying that an army of ants attack a rival group of termites. So an army of ants is singular. So the verb should be attacks, not attack. Because remember we said that a all right. So we can also say that in 1998 movie ends, an army of ants attacks a rival group of termites. That is now basically when we rewrite it correctly, right? A lowly worker ant becomes a hero in the process, initiating events that shake up the ants. Remember, we said that if our subject is plural, and then we need to have, let's say, our verb will basically it won't have an s right at the end of the verb. But if it is singular, if our subject is singular, then definitely a singular verb usually ends in s, right? It's like visits or something, right? That is an example. All right. So we can then, let's go to our test. We need to find the error with subject verb agreement. Select the incorrect verb and type it correctly. Mr. Perry is trying, to concentrate on his yard work, but a swarm of bees keep distracting him. So we said Mr. Perry is trying to concentrate on his yard work, but a swarm of bees keep distracting him. right? So we said Mr. Perry is trying to concentrate on his yard work, but a swarm of bees keeps distracting him, right? Because they said swarm of bees, as much as swarm of bees sounds like it's a lot, but it's basically referring to singular. The students elected the students elected to lead our school beautification committee has several inspiring ideas, including a mural in the gym and the recollection of garbage cans from the nearby school entrance to behind the cafeteria. So the students elected to lead our school beautification committee has several inspiring ideas, including a mural in the gym and the recollection of garbage cans from the near school entrance. So they have lovely ideas. All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on subject verb agreement. Till next time, you must have a good evening further. Goodbye.